U.S. District Court Judge Tanya Chutkin dismissed the election interference case against Donald Trump after special counsel Jack Smith filed a motion citing the Department of Justice policy against prosecuting a sitting president. Smith argued that presidential immunity under DOJ policy applies to Trump while he's in office. However, this immunity expires when he leaves office in 4 years. While the case was dismissed without prejudice, it's probably not a chance it will be brought back and refiled due to the expiration of the statute of limitations before Trump's term actually ends. Smith also requested the dismissal of his appeal in Trump's classified documents case, but continued the appeal for Trump's co-defendants in that case. A spokesperson for Trump hailed the dismissal as major victory and criticized the political weaponization of the justice system. Join us now, Roshini Rajkumar, crisis strategist, licensed attorney, and host of the Crisis Files podcast. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Kevin. Lots to unpack there.
Yeah. Did Donald Trump get off on a technicality, or was this a malicious prosecution by Jack Smith and Merrick Garland, or something in between all that?
Well, it was probably somewhere in between. However, I think much of the country will continue to use that term lawfare. What I am hoping, just in practicality, because at the end of the day, I am a pragmatist, I think that because this has happened and presidential immunity is not a foreign topic, this is something that has been out there for a long time. It's very historical, and it's based in practice, and it's based in the Constitution. So what I'm hoping is that now that this has been decided in this way, these matters will just be kind of concluded, and we're not lingering this story out to 4 years from now.
Yeah, this lawfare, the idea of lawfare, and I think that the Justice Department was weaponized in many ways over the past years. It seemed like it was a get Donald Trump, a get conservatives, where people with different opinions were not prosecuted to the letter of the law to some degree. But I do worry about people being above the law. Like even with Joe Biden and the Hunter Biden dealings in the money that came into the Biden family, there were congressional hearings talking about follow the money, and did Jim Biden, Joe's brother, get money, and Hunter Biden money that came in, and what was this for? These things should be investigated, shouldn't they?
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. No one should be above the law. Things should be investigated. This is where we look at actual statutes. When there is a statute that's been violated or other kind of case law that has been historic and has held precedence in different areas, and you can actually see the elements of a crime being committed, those kinds of things, I agree with you. We can't start ignoring the prosecution or at least the investigation into possible crimes just because of someone's either position or relation, if they are a relative of someone in high authority. We definitely can't. I just think that this whole body of cases against Donald Trump had a lot of different holes. Some of the cases were a lot more solid than others, and I think they've been lumped together depending on which side of the aisle you are, whether you like Donald Trump or not, whereas it really shouldn't be about what you like and who you don't like. It should be about what does the law say and what does precedent say. And that's what we've really gotten away from in this country. The very fact that even now we're sitting here talking about, will Donald Trump do all these pardons? Would he pardon Hunter Biden? Would he pardon himself? These are the kinds of things that I think are just so out there that have become just common talk. And there are so many more important issues that we should be worried about as American people, and our leaders should be worried about.
I had a real problem with this classified documents case because they weren't charging Biden. They weren't charging Mike Pence. But they were charging Donald Trump, and they said, "Well, it's the way he handled it when we approached him." Well, look, it's either against the law to take classified documents, or it's not. To pick and choose, you just can't. You shouldn't be doing that. And it gave the impression that this Justice Department was political, and then I think that hurts their credibility in almost anything else they want to look at, whether it's, this election interference on January 6th or anything else.
Yeah, it really does. And it should be pretty black and white when it comes to classified documents, the location of classified documents, the title that you hold. Are you president or are you vice president, or are you vice president or president elect? I mean, all of those matter. And then it is laid out in various places who can have those, who can have access, and where physically those documents need to be or can't be. I mean, those are all very findable things. And so when those things are found, regardless of whether it was Trump or Biden, it should be, the law should be, or the rule should be applied in the same way.
So when you talk about governmental immunity, and we don't go after prosecutors for looking into cases or bringing charges, it goes through the system, and people are found guilty or innocent. Is there any, and take this away from the presidents for now, is if a county prosecutor deliberately goes after somebody because he doesn't like him for one reason or another, is there any sort of avenue to punish that prosecutor other than to vote him out of office?
Oh, yes. I mean, depending on the jurisdiction, you have various laws. You have overall just prosecutorial misconduct that various people might have standing to bring against a prosecutor. I mean, you are not, it's really all about your reputation. If you aren't seen as applying the law equally, no matter who's in front of you, and in a fair and balanced way, impartial way, as a prosecutor, your very credibility is shot. So there are things. I mean, sometimes it could be law. I mean, the law itself, statutes itself, is a prosecutor doing something to defame, slander someone. There's that whole body of law you could look at. Are they actually illegally using their office? I mean, there is a whole body of law, whether it's federal or state, depending on the jurisdiction you're in, Kevin, where depending on what action you're talking about from a prosecutor, where there could be some actual charges filed. However, I think in many cases before that even happens, a prosecutor would resign or be released from his or her duties.
So Pam Bondi is nominated. If she gets confirmed, she'll be the attorney general. What do you think the office would look like under a Pam Bondi? Would people say that it's lawfare? She's going after Democrats and progressives?
Well, I really hope that doesn't happen. I mean, just as that was definitely used as an accusation by Donald Trump supporters and Trump himself, I don't think it's a good idea for, if Pam Bondi does get approved by the Senate and becomes the country's attorney general, she's got to really play it by the book. I mean, this is where playing it by the book matters more than anything in that office, especially because of the fire that this current attorney general has come under, and other federal prosecutors around the country under the Biden administration. So the best thing Pam Bondi can do is not say she's going to be bringing all these charges and investigating. She just needs to look and listen and see what's actually out there. And hopefully what that also means is those people that are conducting the day-to-day work across the country that are connected to the Justice Department are also really taking their own duty and their own oath seriously.
Roshini Rajkumar, crisis strategist, licensed attorney, and host of the Crisis Files podcast. Thanks so much for being with us. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Kevin. You too.